The summer sun hung low over Maplewood Park, casting golden rays across the annual HOA picnic. Laughter and chatter filled the air as neighbors mingled, their tables laden with homemade dishes, vibrant salads, steaming casseroles, and desserts that promised sweetness. My wife, Lena, had spent days perfecting her signature Vietnamese pho, a recipe passed down from her grandmother. The rich aroma of star anise and beef broth wafted through the crowd, drawing smiles and eager hands. But then, Karen strode in, her designer heels clicking on the grass, her lips curled into a sneer that could curdle milk. She didn't just walk, she strutted, as if the park were her personal runway. "What is that smell?" she demanded, loud enough for heads to turn. Before Lena could respond, Karen's voice sliced through the chatter. "This foreign slop doesn't belong at our picnic." The crowd froze. Lena's face flushed, her hands trembling as she gripped her ladle. Karen had just ignited a fire and she wasn't done. Lena, ever composed, tried to defuse the situation. "It's just pho, Karen. Would you like to try some? It's a family recipe." Her voice was steady, but I could see the hurt in her eyes. Karen scoffed, tossing her perfectly coiffed hair. "I don't eat that kind of food. It's probably not even safe. I'm doing everyone a favor." She pulled out her phone, her manicured nails tapping the screen with purpose. "Yes, 911. There's an issue at Maplewood Park. Someone serving questionable food, and I feel unsafe." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lena's jaw dropped. I stepped forward, my heart pounding, but before I could speak, Karen shoved past me, her eyes glinting with triumph. She marched to Lena's table, grabbed the pot of pho, and with a dramatic flourish dipped it onto the ground. The broth splattered across the grass, noodles tangling in the dirt. "There," she said, dusting her hands. "Problem solved." The crowd erupted. Neighbors shouted, some in outrage, others in disbelief. Mrs. Thompson, the HOA president, pushed through, her face a mix of shock and fury. "Karen, what have you done?" she demanded. Karen crossed her arms, unfazed. "I'm protecting our standards. This is Maplewood, not some street market." But then, a new voice cut through the chaos, a soft, trembling one. It was Mrs. Nguyen, an elderly widow who rarely spoke at gatherings. She stepped forward, her eyes glistening with tears. "That dish," she said, pointing at the ruined pho, "is my daughter's recipe. Lena learned it from her. It's not just food, it's our history." The crowd fell silent. Mrs. Nguyen's words hung heavy, a twist no one saw coming. Karen's smirk faltered, but she doubled down. "Well, maybe your history doesn't belong here," she snapped. The cruelty of her words stung, and I saw Lena's shoulders slump, her resilience cracking. The tension boiled over. Mrs. Thompson, usually diplomatic, had had enough. "Karen, you've crossed a line. You don't get to ruin someone's contribution and call the police over food." Karen laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "You can't touch me. My husband's on the city council. I run this HOA." But the crowd was shifting. Neighbors who once tolerated Karen's antics now glared. I stepped forward, my voice steady but burning. "You think you're untouchable, Karen? Let's see how your husband feels when this hits the local news." I held up my phone, where I'd been recording since her 911 call. Her eyes widened, but she quickly masked it with a scoff. "You wouldn't dare," she hissed. But the crowd was already buzzing, phones out, capturing the wreckage of Lena's dish and Karen's smug defiance. Then came the confrontation. Mrs. Thompson called an emergency HOA meeting on the spot, right there in the park. "We vote now," she declared. "Karen's behavior is unacceptable. All in favor of banning her from future HOA events." Hands shot up, nearly every hand, including those of Karen's usual allies. Even Mr. Jenkins, who always fawned over her status, raised his hand, his face grim. "You've gone too far, Karen," he muttered. Karen's face turned scarlet. "You can't do this," she shrieked. "I made this community what it is." But Mrs. Nguyen stepped forward again, her voice stronger now. "No, Karen, you've torn us apart. Lena's dish brought us together. You destroyed it." The weight of her words landed like a hammer. Karen's confidence crumbled, her hands shaking as she realized the tide had turned. The police arrived, but not for Lena. After hearing the story and seeing my video, they issued Karen a warning for public disturbance and escorted her away as the crowd watched in stunned silence. Karen's downfall was swift. The video I recorded went viral on local social media, shared by neighbors, and even picked up by a news outlet. Her husband, embarrassed by the scandal, distanced himself, and whispers spread that he'd urged her to apologize, something Karen refused to do. The HOA formalized her ban, and her name became a cautionary tale in Maplewood. Lena, meanwhile, was invited to host a cultural food night at the next event, where her foe took center stage. Mrs. and Wynne joined her, sharing stories of their family's journey, turning pain into connection. The community rallied around them, and Lena's smile returned, brighter than ever. In the end, Karen's pride cost her everything: her status, her influence, her place among us. Lena's quiet strength and Mrs. Nguyen's unexpected courage reminded us what community truly means. Not perfection, but shared humanity. It's easy to judge, to tear down what we don't understand. But it takes heart to build something better. What do you think? Where do we draw the line between standing up and tearing down? Share your thoughts.